Welcome to the Leadership Catalyst PowerBites podcast, where leadership meets transformation. I'm your host, Philip Botha. In each episode, my guest brings their perspectives on real leadership challenges, along with actionable insights that you can use. I ask 8 powerful questions to uncover bold ideas and practical strategies from inspiring leaders across the world. My guest today is Fran Cherny, a globally respected voice in cultural transformation and conscious leadership. Welcome, Fran.
Philip, very happy to be here.
Very happy to have you. Now, Fran's worked globally with companies like Microsoft, Facebook, and Procter & Gamble, helping leaders align business strategy with their core values. Most recently, he served as culture and executive development lead at Booking.com, where he shaped the leadership culture across the organization. Now, I've had the privilege of knowing and working with Fran since 2008, when he was at Excellent, and I'm honored to bring his insight to PowerBites today. Fran, in a nutshell, how would you describe what you bring to leadership development?
Well, what I would say is what I try to bring is clarity to leaders around how they can connect their strategy, their business strategy, what they want, let's say what they would like to bring to the world from their organization purpose standpoint to, let's say, the culture they would like to create for that. So the clarity between the connection about who we want to be in the world, what we are bringing here, but also how we need to behave, work together, ways of working to make all that happen. And in my experience, that's usually not very clear. And that creates a lot of mess and a lot of pain in organizations, not only for their own people, but also for the customers they're trying to serve.
My second question is, if you spoke about clarity and caring, so what is the core problem or challenge that you help people solve to get to clarity and caring?
Yes, what I would say is to explain clarity and caring, the more clarity we bring to who we are, how we want to play, what is expected from us, again, for the customers or for our own people, then I believe we are more caring, because then people know what to expect, then people know how to behave, then people know if they want to stay in, and this is the perfect place for them, or the place they can really shine, or actually not. And then I can move to somewhere else because it's going to be a better context for me. So for me, when we're clear on expectations of what is expected from us, then it's easier for everyone to work around us.
Speaking about that, what are the symptoms that your clients experience when they encounter this, when they're trying to do this?
Well, actually, what I see a lot, or the symptoms that I see a lot, and organizations see, or leaders that then we work together, is first a lot of, let's say, fights about the same topics over and over again, which means there's something that they are not unlocking or bringing clarity around, that is then creating a lot of side effects. So that's one, because that means they cannot come together and create some consensus or some clarity around a decision and something that's going to create ripple effects in the whole organization. The other symptom that I see is people getting very mixed messages about how to fit in, how to behave, how to work together in this organization, and actually behaving in many different ways. And let me clarify this also, that is, we cannot have different styles. We cannot have different, even personal values in some cases, even different beliefs, that's fine. But in our organization, we are trying to work in a cohesive way. There are certain things that we need to have in common. Like any group that exists, not just organizations, any family, any team sport, let's say, all those, they have certain codes of conduct and ways of working that are going to help them do better, be more effective, be more clear with each other. I know what I can expect from you. The symptom that I see a lot is that's not clear.
Okay. So talking about the symptoms that you spoke about, fighting mixed messages, what are the typical errors that people make that hold them back and then lead them straight back into these repeating patterns?
Yes, what I would say about the fight part, or let's say that never closing any loop, let's say it's never ending loops of discussions and never getting anywhere. For me, one of the typical errors is not having clarity on decision-making processes. Okay, so we have this illusion that everything can be done by consensus and everything should be done by majority or everything. So then everyone's going to be happy. And actually, statistically, I can show you that that's not what happens. Everyone is unhappy because of that, because we are not clear. And what I would say is consensus, a majority of those things works for certain processes and type of decisions, when actually there are other type of decisions that require a different way of making those decisions. And the lack of clarity on how the decision making works creates all these issues. So that's one. When we go to the mixed messages, I think the typical error is that everyone, let's say, believes that their way is the way, and that my team and my area is doing the right thing. So that's one. The other one would be from a leadership standpoint, the typical error is not really working towards that clarity and that alignment, and thinking that that's going to play by itself when actually it's not.
So my next question is, what one powerful inspirational idea can you recommend to people that will help them move towards clarity?
Let's put it this way, that I think that getting to clarity many times requires a process of helping people understand how they make decisions, supporting them in making that decision and following through. And usually, I'm going to talk, let's say, about this for the two topics, for the clarity and for the execution, let's say, of the clarity. That is, we have this illusion that things will change because we just talk about it.
Okay.
Oh, yes, we need to get aligned, and then we will get aligned. We don't get aligned. Oh, yes, we need to change the way we behave on this or the way we work on this. So the main inspiration, I would say, is not even inspiration, but is the main driving idea of the book I wrote and all my studies on this and all my work with companies, is that things don't change because we talk about things. Things only change when we start doing things differently. And we have a very limited capacity on how much we can do differently at the same time. So the main driver idea I would bring is don't try to change many things at the same time at an individual, team, organization level. Choose one thing, max two, but I would say one, and just follow through for the next 2-3 months to really master that change. Once you do that, you are not only getting better at that thing, but also you are learning how to drive change. Okay, and actually, after a year, you maybe have changed 3 or 4 very fundamental things that you thought should change are already changing only 1 year later. So the phrase I love about that is don't overestimate how much you can do in 1 week. Don't underestimate how much you can achieve in 1 year.
Okay. So if you take that idea, what action can people take that is free beyond this that will help them address these issues?
What I would say is, first is all of us acknowledging the concept that learning doesn't happen when we read a book or when we listen to a masterclass. Actually, I was very skeptical of writing my own book because I think I'm going to bring more problems there. People will read it and think, yes, now I master it. You don't master anything, not me, not you, after reading a book or attending a masterclass or watching a video. The moment we start mastering that is when we start practicing. So what we can say is you don't learn how to swim or how to ride a bike by reading the books about that. You need to get into the bike, fall, get back to the bike, and even have some support. The same with swimming. It's exactly the same. So that's the first thing I would like to bring. Whatever matters to you, don't get into the 5-10 things. Get into the one and just decide how to practice that. That's one. The second thing I would say is what is not in your agenda will never happen. That's what I found. Okay, so we have meetings, we have this, we have that, and then so I say, hey, do you care about this? Yes, a lot. Where is it in your agenda? No, well, I will practice that whenever I can. Well, you just told me that's the thing that matters the most to you, to improve this, to get better at this, to get to your next better version of yourself. So just put it in your agenda as the most important thing. Maybe it's 5 minutes every day, maybe it's 1 hour a week, but if it's not there, it will never happen.
That's very true. So my second last question, do you have a free resource that you can direct people to that will help them along this path?
Well, connected to what I shared before, I'm not into the business of bringing more things. For me, always the question is, what is it already within me that I know is good for me, but I'm not fully practicing or accessing? So the one thing that I found that is free, easy to do, actually we're doing it almost every time, but with no consciousness, that actually helps to drive effectiveness is breathing. So breathing meaning I put in my agenda literally 3 times a day, 5 minutes, where after 2 or 3 hours of meetings or things I need to do with clients, I pause and I take 5 minutes to breathe. That helps me. And breathing, again, it's just free. It's just something, but breathing with intention, it helps me let go of the things I have to let go from the last 2-3 hours. It helps me get clean and with the right energy for what's coming in the next 2-3 hours. It helps me even prepare for a very important meeting to clarify the intention, to bring clarity to a meeting so I can be caring with others about what is expected, what they can expect from me, what I want from that meeting, so we can get aligned on the meeting intention very quickly. So what can I do differently about it? Is to have the clarity of the intention and the process and the caring to align that with people in the first 5 minutes. It looks very tactical, but actually it's what makes people feel at the end of the day, hey, I had a great day, or I didn't. So breathing is the thing that I would say, just put it in your agenda. Do your 1 hour, do your 3 times 5 minutes, do your whatever. But it's free and the impact is huge.
Thank you. I think that's beautiful because, yes, I'm a yoga teacher and breathing is fundamental for us. But I think people underestimate the power that you can actually experience from just sitting down, closing off, and focusing on breathing, because it leads you to where you need to go, especially the clarity that you spoke about. My final question, Fran, is, for me, authentic leadership is fundamentally important. What it means for me is leading from that deep alignment with your true core, who you deeply are, your values, your purpose, your essence. And that is what inspires us, how we show up and how we create meaningful impact in the world. So what I'd like to ask you is, what does authentic leadership mean for you?
Yes. For me, so I'm very aligned with what you share, but I try to go one step even beyond. That is, for me, in my experience, we all want to grow, to do better, to bring the next better version of ourselves. So for me, authentic leadership is the connection with that next better version of ourselves. So it's not only, because then if not, people justify themselves by saying, hey, well, but this is who I am. But the question is not who you are. The question is who you would like to be. And of course, in essence, we are the same. But there's some things we would like to evolve, to do better, to show up even in a better way. And for me, the authentic leadership, if we can compare ourselves, or let's say assess ourselves against that next level, it's going to help us grow towards that. It's going to help us be also authentic with ourselves about where we are and where we would like to be, and bring that next better version of ourselves.
Wonderful. Fran, thank you very much for your insight, for sharing, and for being here. I loved having you.
Thank you, Philip. It was a real pleasure, and all the best.
Thank you for joining us on the Leadership Catalyst PowerBites. If you'd like to connect, please visit leadershipcatalyst.guru or find me on LinkedIn at Philip Botha. I'd love to hear from you.